Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Bronte Sheldon, one of our students, and she comes from the Gypsy, Traveller and Roma community. I wanted her to come along and talk to you today because I think there's a lot of stigma and lack of understanding around that particular community. So welcome, Bronte. Could you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, hi, my name's Bronte. I'm a second year media, culture and communication student. I'm also the school coordinator for media and communications. I'm 28, so I'm a bit of a mature student, I like to think. I really wanted to address today these issues. My dad, he comes from a Roma Gypsy community, and my mum's a non-traveller, so I'm kind of seen as almost a half caste. That's the way I've been described, even within the travelling community. What I wanted to address really was the issues surrounding the lack of an inclusive curriculum around the teaching and culture and inclusivity of traveller and gypsy culture within schools, especially in higher education. I myself have had a lot of stigma and bullying and racist remarks made towards myself. So I think it's really important moving forward that we make a affirming culture environment, but also a place where people are just aware of this history and culture as well.
Brilliant. So actually, tell us a little bit about the culture, because I think it's an incredibly misunderstood one. What is it that you think is really important for people to know about that particular community?
Yeah, so a lot of the times the stigmas come with just the representation in media. So that'll be shows like My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding,
Mm,
the representation in films like Snatch. A
mm,
lot of the times that's a sensationalization of a community and it doesn't represent them at all. A lot of people tend to think that they're uneducated, they're almost wild and ruly, or we even recently had Gypsy Crime on Channel 4. Just to say that one type of a community acts a
mm,
certain way is just very ignorant and racist, and it in most cases isn't the case. Really, you can't identify who is a traveller or a gypsy just by looking at them. I think
mm,
you'd be hard pushed to think they are just like that. A lot of people do actually end up in higher education with just, I guess, you're not aware of it, because if we go back to say World War II, when you were recognised for being a gypsy, you could die because of that. So
mm,
that's certainly carried forward, where maybe we don't identify ourselves, but I think as well
mm,
because we don't find there's a lot of understanding. So
mm.
we're not all aggressive and covered in dirt most of the time. You wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. So I think there's definitely that stigma that you can, and I don't think you can.
What do you see as the really positive aspects of the community? Again, what would you like to share about that?
So I mean, like on my dad's side, we can trace our history back to the 1200s, and that's a lot of history, a lot of
Yeah.
heritage, and we've got a lot of stories and culture, and that's the main thing. It's the community, the sense of
Yeah.
community. So we're they're very, very proud people. We've still got folk songs, we've got our own language. It's so rich in culture that it should just really be celebrated.
Yeah. Brilliant. And what would you like staff to think about there? You mentioned at the beginning inclusive curriculum. What sort of things would you like staff to think about in terms of the
Yeah.
community?
So I think in any situation when it comes to teaching and you're trying to balance things up, say, could I have more female authors? Do we need to have more representation of BEAM, things like
Mm,
that? Think about other cultures as well in our history, like travelers and gypsies, because there is, quite a lot of literature and history that you could involve. So just putting those little bits and, the history of media, or even current media, if you look at, say, Tommy Fury or Pete Doherty, there's still quite a lot of places you can go to add
mhm,
that in to make it more inclusive. But as well, it would just be affirmation to the culture. So if somebody maybe asks, can you tell me about a time when gypsies were involved in this, or travelers,
mm.
being able to provide that to students would just be great.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Bronte. And just to share that Bronte came to me after seeing an article that was written by Wendy Price, the head of widening access and participation at the university, because her team has signed up to a national initiative where the university will make a firm commitment to take steps to support it GTRSB, and that's Gypsies, Travellers, Roma, Showmen and Boaters students into and within higher education. And as she says, we have a deep-rooted commitment to widening participation, ensuring fair access to all students, whatever their background. And they are going to look to create a welcoming and supportive environment to GTRSB students to thrive academically and personally. And Bronte saw that and wanted to share her story to support, because you were really quite pleased, weren't you, Bronte, when you saw that that article?
I really had no idea that there was anything like that available to students of that, that heritage. So I was really taken aback and also pleased that the uni had done it. So I just wanted to get more involved and just give some representation as well.
Brilliant. And I'll put a link back to that article in the video notes so that, hello cat, so that you can
Trying to be involved.
so that you can read it. Thanks again, Bronte. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.